which immediately means that Jon Jones is not undisputed. He is disputed by the interim champ. So that's first off. Second off, he's not number one pound for pound. Islam is number one pound for pound. He is the GOAT, though. I'll give you that one. Jon Jones, greatest of all time, easy pick. Leagues above GSP, leagues above Demetrius Johnson. I think that he's secured his spot as greatest of all time. Forget the steroids, forget all the stuff outside of the cage. Jon Jones is the greatest of all time. He is not number one pound for pound right now. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Hardcore and the Casual podcast. I'm your host, Justin, and on today's episode, I am joined by Elijah once again. How's it going, Elijah?
Going good. How are you?
I'm doing good. We're coming off of a big UFC card this past weekend where Jon Jones defends his disputed heavyweight championship, and we are left in the same position that we were basically last week. Jon Jones, I feel as though, did not prove too much. I mean, he proved that he's still high level, but he proved it against a 42-year-old that took 4 years out of action, who was coming off of a KO loss.
He whooped him.
One judge had that second round to Stipe. Just want to let you know that. One judge, second round, Stipe. So I don't know if he whooped him. He whooped him in the first round. He 10-8'd him in the first round, guaranteed. But the fact that Stipe managed to survive that round and then get back up and then possibly win the second round does not make me hopeful that Jon Jones can beat a Tom Aspinall.
Well, you got to understand, Stipe is the heavyweight GOAT. It would go the same way for Tom Aspinall. Like, Tom Aspinall's not just going to go out there and put out Stipe. He's not that type of guy.
I doubt that he wouldn't. I guarantee you that Tom Aspinall would have put Stipe to bed in the first round. That version of Stipe, that 42-year-old version of Stipe that we saw last Saturday, that was slow, that looked like he was hungover from the night before, that version of Stipe probably gets put unconscious in the first round by Tom Aspinall, who, remember, has 6 out of 6 finishes in the UFC, 100% finish rate.
Tom Aspinall hasn't fought Cyril Gain.
And who cares? Because Cyril Gain sucks. And how does that matter? Stop. Tom Aspinall has a 2-minute and 2-second average fight time. He would have put Stipe to bed. That's that. He would have. He would have knocked that version of Stipe out in the first. Jon Jones managed to let Stipe survive into the second round. There's no way that he survives a fight against Tom Aspinall. Well, there's a way, but Jon Jones looked slow. He looked like he has gotten slower. And he has. He's 37. He is getting slower. He's moving slower. His reaction time is getting slower. And yeah, he's still the GOAT. He's still one of the best fighters in the world. And he could still probably whoop most of the top 15. But there are levels, and Tom Aspinall is on that level right now, where he is just knocking people out one after another, very quickly, very early. So if Jon Jones cannot get his hands on Tom Aspinall, I don't see a way to victory. And that version of Jon Jones that we saw past Saturday night, I don't think is fast enough to get his hands on Tom Aspinall with Tom Aspinall's great footwork, great head movement, great ability for takedown defense. Tom Aspinall right now is the full package. And I just see him being able to put on work on Jon Jones. But I don't think it matters at this point because Jon Jones is not going to take the fight. I think we've realized that at this point. They're going to have to pay him some ungodly amount of money to take the fight. And it's not going to happen. So it really doesn't matter at this point. Because he's not getting the Alex fight. He's not getting the Tom fight. Or he's not going to do the Tom fight. So at this point, he might as well just retire as the GOAT. Move on to bigger and better things, you know? There was a lot of other stuff to talk about on this card, though, and I'm sure we're not going to be done talking about Jon Jones at this point, but to go down the list, your boy, Mickey Gall, did not end up getting the win.
Really?
Yeah, he ended up getting knocked out, sadly. I do like Mickey Gall, but he's probably getting cut now. I think he is, let's see, what is his record? He's now tied for his record, like equal wins, equal losses. Mm-hmm. I don't know why this isn't working. Yeah, Mickey Gall is now 7-7. His record is 7-7. He's on a 4-fight losing streak in the UFC. He's getting cut. So sadly, your boy Mickey Gall probably no longer going to be on the UFC roster. Jim Miller ended up picking up a win. Marcin Tybura picked up a win. Marcus McGee picked up a win because Jonathan Martinez only knows how to throw leg kicks, and I think I think that he's going to be next up on the chopping block to get cut because, man, all he knows how to do is throw leg kicks. It's kind of crazy. Rufy, he ended up picking up the win, unanimous decision win. Loin top, I don't know how you pronounce it. He did way better than I thought he was going to do. For being short notice, being a catch weight, missing weight, he did great, and he was able to stay in there for a long time and eat a lot of crazy shots. Vivian Araujo, she picked up the win, unanimous decision. That was a good fight too. And then we get to Bo Nickel moving up one more undefeated 7-0 against Paul Craig. This fight did not go how I thought it was going to go. I want to hear what your opinions are before I give mine, because I've already given mine on our live reaction if you check that out. So they probably already know my opinions if they watch that, but go ahead and let me know what your opinion is.
I feel like Bo Nickel needs to... I had said under one of his training videos or something he had posted about the fight, and I was like, you got to work on something different because, you're a championship wrestler. You have all this wrestling. You're doing all this striking. His striking didn't look too good. And it's like, do what you're good at,
But the thing is, okay, so this is what I've been saying this entire time. You got to cut Bo Nickel some slack because, one, he beat a 12-year MMA veteran. I know Paul Craig's not the best striker in the world, but he's been training striking for 12 years. Bo Nickel has been training striking for 2 years. So he beat a guy with 10 more years of experience in striking than he does in only 2 years. So he's getting better at striking. He did decently well with the striking. I mean, he didn't drop Paul Craig. He didn't do any of that. But we don't yell at Chael Sonnen for not being the best striker. No one yelled at Ben Askren for not being the best striker. These guys got it done with their grappling. But the thing is, Chael Sonnen is the perfect example. Sometimes you go out there and wrestle someone that knows Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and you get caught in a submission. Bo Nickel wanted to prove something. He wanted to prove, one, that he can stay on the feet, and that he can beat someone on the feet. And he did that. He didn't beat the best striker in the world, but he did go out there and win a kickboxing fight. That's what he did. Also, he wanted to prove to people that he had high fight IQ. And high fight IQ means not running in there, getting a takedown, and then getting submitted by a guy who knows Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu way better than you do. And Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu has always been the most dangerous of all the martial arts. It's always been. So if you just go in there and try and grapple with Paul Craig, who, by the way, has finished the top 5 of light heavyweights, Jamal Hill, Ankalaev, Nikola Krylov, he's finished like the top 5 guys that are bigger in weight by submission. Why would Bo Nickel go in there and try and take Paul Craig down if he knows that he might get submitted? That's just not high fight IQ, is to go out there and try and grapple with Paul Craig. It's not high IQ. What's high IQ is go out there and try and get the win on the feet, which Bo Nickel did. It's not the most impressive win, but he's only been striking for 2 years. And guys have gone out there before with low hands, not good striking, and still made it to the top of the top. Like Chael Sonnen, never won a title, but made it to the top of the top. Ben Askren, 19-2 in his career. That's pretty good. I mean, you don't have to have good hands to still make it in MMA. You just have to win the fight that's put in front of you. And the fight that was put in front of Bo is an elite Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guy, so why grapple with him? There's no reason to. And anyways, Bo Nickel still has better hands than Chael Sonnen or Ben Askren. Am I wrong about that? Like, his hands weren't great, but they are also better than some of the guys that have made it higher in the rankings who only have grappling. Damian Maia. Damian Maia has fought for 2 world titles in 2 different divisions with terrible hands. And he only has grappling, and he's still made it to that point. Habib has never had the best striking in the world. We've seen Habib fight like this before on the feet, like, whoa. He doesn't have good grappling, but he's got the ground game. So it all comes down to the fact that Bo Nickel needs to grow in his striking, yes, but still, not everyone is Paul Craig. Not everyone is going to force Bo Nickel to stay on the feet. The next 5 opponents that he has, he's going to take down. He just didn't do that to Paul Craig because Paul Craig is dangerous on the ground. Do you see where I'm coming from with this? It's like you got to cut him a little bit of slack. He's only been doing it for 2 years, and he just beat a guy that's a 12-year veteran who's finished guys in the light heavyweight division.
I just feel like he could do a little bit better. There's just better combinations, better things he could work on. You know, like maybe even, I don't know, even still if the guy is good at jiu-jitsu, he's like a what? Four-time state undefeated wrestling champion.
He's the second best wrestler to ever go into the UFC, behind Ben Askren. Ben Askren is the only guy ranked above Bo Nickel in the wrestling charts. Like for
Brock Lesnar?
Nope. He's not ranked higher. He does not have more accolades than Bo Nickel.
Almost about.
Bo Nickel is like the 27th ranked best wrestler out of college. The only person above him on that list in MMA is Ben Askren. No one else is above him on that list. Like, Kamaru Usman is like number 100th on there. So, there's no comparison. Bo Nickel has way better wrestling than anyone from America in the UFC right now. He's got the best wrestling in the UFC. Now it's just a matter of mixing the disciplines, getting your striking going, and working on that. But you do not need that in MMA. You don't. You can be a Khabib, you can be a Chael Sonnen, you can be a Ben Askren, and just go out there and grapple fuck people. It's not the most entertaining thing, and I've had my critiques about it before. I don't find it very entertaining when people do that, but it's something that you can do. You don't need hands to go out there and win a UFC title. You just don't. We've seen that over and over and over and over again. But when you're fighting a guy like Paul Craig, you're going to need to keep it on the feet. It's not smart to shoot on Paul Craig, knowing what he does to people. Mm-hmm. So I cut Bo Nickel a lot of slack for that win. I think that he still has so much potential in this division. The best grappler in the division is like number 15th ranked, like Fluffy Hernandez. Everyone else are strikers in that whole division. So I can see him doing big, other than Chimaev. Chimaev's like number 3. I don't think that Bo should fight Chimaev yet, though. That's not what I'm saying here. I'm saying that he should work on his hands more, but don't just discredit him just because he has so much potential. That's what I'm trying to say.
He could survive against Chimaev.
Yeah, I think he could too. I don't think Chimaev has the best hands in the world.
I don't think Chimaev's grappling's better than Bo Nickel's.
I don't think it is either. I think his striking is better than Bo's, but I don't think that Chimaev even has that high-level striking either. I mean,
it'd be a good fight. I mean,
they both knocked out a bunch of bums, but then once you start hitting the higher-level guys, you're not going to knock them out as easily. We've seen that with Chimaev. He used to knock people out, and he knocked out Gerald Meerschaert in like 5 seconds. And now he hasn't knocked out any of the top guys. He didn't knock out Whitaker. He submitted him. He didn't knock out Gilbert Burns. He didn't knock out Usman. So, I don't know, man. I think that Bo Nickel is pretty okay. I think he's okay. I think everyone's blowing it way too out of proportion right now. But now, moving up, Charles Oliveira versus Michael Chandler. Let's hear what you got to say about this fight.
My boy Michael Chandler, he's always going to pull through and make it an interesting fight. Good win for Charles Oliveira. Doesn't mean he goes back into the title. I'm not too sure. I don't really know how I feel about that. After even with that Arman fight, I do want Arman to get up in there. It's going to be a boring fight between him and Islam.
It wasn't last time. It wasn't a boring fight. When you get two really good grapplers in there together, it's not exactly going to be boring. It's going to be a scramble fest, and it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be fun. I watched the last fight. I thought it was pretty fun. I think it's fun to watch great scrambles. Two wrestlers going at it with each other, just wrestling.
Yeah.
It's pretty fun. It's only not fun when one wrestler is really good and then one guy sucks and then just gets laid on the entire fight. That's when it's boring. When both guys know how to wrestle, it becomes really fun. Gamrot versus Arman was really fun. And those are two wrestlers.
Do you think Arman's entertaining?
I think that Arman can be entertaining. I think that sometimes he's boring. I thought the Charles Oliveira fight was pretty boring.
Does he have better striking than Islam?
No, Islam's got probably some of the best striking in the UFC right now, honestly. I mean, I might be being a little bit hyperbolic when I say that, but he beat Dustin Poirier on the feet. He beat Alexander Volkanovski on the feet. And yes, it's because of the threat of the takedown, but this isn't kickboxing, it's MMA. So the threat of the takedown is always going to be there. It's about how you adjust your striking to that. Islam has the best MMA striking in the lightweight division right now. So, I don't know, man. I see Islam winning that. I do see Charles Oliveira getting the next title shot. And I see Michael Chandler moving on to fight someone like Max Holloway or Conor.
Man, that boy Chandler, it's just like he's losing these fights, but it's like he's losing great fights. Like,
Yeah.
I really can't describe it, you know? It's like, all right, well, we can throw him into another fight because he lost this fight, but it was such a great loss.
Yeah, it was a performance. And Dana White even said the same thing. He said Michael Chandler has a home here until he retires. So he's never getting cut from the UFC no matter how many losses he takes. He's like Tony Ferguson. Tony Ferguson's never going to get cut no matter how many losses he takes. But Michael Chandler's not going to stay that long, even if he keeps on losing. But it was the fifth round, so much fun. Michael Chandler almost had Charles Oliveira out of there in the fifth round. Then Oliveira came back. And then Michael Chandler got to do the thing with the dropping him twice. That was all fun. Gamesmanship. It kept his star shining bright, even in a loss. And then Charles Oliveira, what can you say about him? He went out there and he did his thing. It was very impressive. I thought that he could have done a little bit more. I thought that a lot of the time he was kind of stalling. I feel like he could have tried a little more to finish the fight. But I mean, Michael Chandler's a tough opponent to get out of there.
I think Chandler should fight Bernard Saint Denis.
That'd be fun. I think he has to fight down though first. I don't think that BSD deserves a fight against someone who's 7th ranked after coming off of 2 losses. Doesn't really make much sense.
It would be a good fight.
It would be a good fight. I'm not saying it's not, but he doesn't really deserve a top 7 guy right now. I think Money Moicano versus Michael Chandler would be fun.
You and this guy, Money Moicano.
Money Moicano's sick. What about him?
Oh my gosh! Don't start.
What about him? Money Moicano is sick.
No.
And I think Michael Chandler would do better against Moicano than he just did against Oliveira. I think Oliveira is quite a bit higher level than Moicano. But still, fun fight. I think it would be a fun fight. And now we have circled all the way back to Jones versus Stipe. If you have any other opinions on this, let me hear it now.
Jon Jones, number 1, pound for pound. Number 1, pound for pound.
No.
Greatest of all time.
Yes.
Undisputed heavyweight champion of the world, of the UFC.
How did you say a full sentence and get half of it wrong? 1, he's not the undisputed champ. He's the disputed champ.
Check the
Get that
paperwork.
right. No, I have. There is an interim champion called Tom Aspinall, which immediately means that Jon Jones is not undisputed. He is disputed by the interim champ. So that's first off. Second off, he's not number 1 pound for pound. Islam is number 1 pound for pound. He is the GOAT, though. I'll give you that one. Jon Jones, greatest of all time, easy pick. Leagues above GSP, leagues above Demetrius Johnson. I think that he's secured his spot as greatest of all time. Forget the steroids, forget all the stuff outside of the cage. Jon Jones is the greatest of all time. I said it. He is not number 1 pound for pound right now. He is not the best fighter in the world pound for pound right now.
Jon Jones could easily beat Tom Aspinall.
If
you saw the way he did that kick was
that
vicious.
Kick came in the 3rd round.
He was looking better than ever.
Dude, no, he didn't.
He didn't. How he came into that fight.
Are you kidding me? Jon Jones looked better than ever?
He picked Stipe apart. He just put on a masterclass performance.
No, he didn't.
And I was happy for Jon. I really am.
Jon Jones did not put on a masterclass performance. It's not the best he's ever looked. And he did that in the 3rd round.
I mean, even just looking toward the future, he did address that, he's going to stay at the UFC. And, he's going to figure out what he's going to do. He's looking for more money in these situations. He does want to fight Pereira. He's not ducking Tom.
He is.
He just wants a little more money. Same thing with the whole Francis situation. Same thing with the whole Pereira. He knows that even if he takes lost money with Pereira, that fight would generate more so that he would get that money.
We gave Francis Ngannou shit for ducking Jon Jones. We gave him shit for wanting more money to fight Jones. Why can we not hold Jones to the same standard for ducking Tom for more money? It should be the same standard. Same for Canelo and Benavidez in boxing. It should all be held to the same standard. It doesn't matter how much of a GOAT you are. You should still keep the integrity of the sport by fighting your interim champion.
Basically, with that logic, Francis would beat Aspinall. And Aspinall, even if Aspinall won the belt, he still wouldn't be undisputed greatest because he never fought Francis.
But because Francis left. And
he got cut.
Who got cut? Francis left.
Francis got cut.
No, he didn't. He left the UFC. He had no fights left on his contract. He left. He fought out his contract, and then he didn't re-sign with the UFC. He left. They didn't fire him. He left. So there's no way that Tom could fight him, but there is someone in the division right now who still has fights left on his contract that Tom Aspinall can fight. His name's Jon Jones.
How many fights he has left?
I have no clue. Doesn't even matter. Tell me this. Jon Jones has been saying that Tom Aspinall hasn't done enough to earn a fight against Jon Jones. Tell me this. Who does Tom Aspinall need to beat to get the fight with Jon Jones?
Ciryl Gane.
Ciryl Gane is the easiest fight in the heavyweight division. Skip. Next.
No, he's a good striker. He's one of the most decorated strikers. So he still hasn't fought him. He just hasn't fought Ciryl Gane.
Because Ciryl Gane ducked him. Do you not remember that Ciryl Gane ducked Tom Aspinall last year?
He was injured.
No, he wasn't.
Injured.
No, he wasn't. Stop lying about stuff. You're making stuff up. Ciryl Gane was not injured. He just ducked Tom Aspinall because he didn't want to fight him. That's all there was to it.
He was hurt.
Is there a former champion that Tom Aspinall can beat to say, I've beaten a former champion, I deserve to fight Jon Jones? No, there isn't. The only person in the division right now who's not retired, because Stipe just retired, the only guy to hold a heavyweight undisputed belt right now is Jon Jones. So how can he earn a fight against Jon Jones if Jon Jones is the only person left for him to beat? And you can't even tell me that if Tom Aspinall beat Ciryl Gane, then all of a sudden everyone would change their minds and say, oh, now he deserves the fight against Jones. One fight isn't going to change anything. If Tom Aspinall defeated Gane tomorrow, Jon Jones would still duck Tom Aspinall. He'd probably duck him more because he would see how easily Tom wiped the floor with Gane, and he'd be even more scared.
And what if it takes Tom 3 rounds, 4 rounds?
Well, then we could start having conversations about whether Tom Aspinall is that good or not. But Tom Aspinall has not in the UFC proved that he has a weakness.
He beat Pavlovich. Pavlovich is mid.
Pavlovich had a 6-fight knockout streak.
Mid.
He beat Ciryl Gane.
He beat a bunch of scrubs. He beat a bunch of scrubs.
He beat Curtis Blades.
Curtis Blades is a scrub.
How?
Most of these heavyweight guys are all scrubs.
Well, then how does Tom Aspinall earn a fight against the champ if he can't beat anyone who's not a scrub?
I mean, he just doesn't need to fight Jon Jones.
He does. He does to prove his legacy. The old fight the young, and the young beat the old. That's how the sport goes. That's how every sport goes.
This isn't Jake Paul and Mike Tyson. We don't do that.
Yes, we do. Okay, name one time a fighter other than Khabib has just said, you know what? I'm done. I'm not defending against the next guy up. I don't want this anymore. It's literally Khabib and GSP. That's basically it. And GSP even got flack for that. People were saying, yo, you're ducking the guys in the middleweight division. You're ducking Robert Whittaker. People were saying that about GSP back then. So why are we not holding Jon Jones to the same standard?
Go.
That doesn't matter.
He gets to do what he wants.
It's not WWE. It's not WWE. You don't get to just go around and do whatever you want. It's a sport. You fight the best in the world. You don't get to pick and choose who you want to fight.
Sometimes you just got to bend the rules, you know?
No, you don't. You don't get to bend the... And if you're the GOAT, you should be able to fight the top guys. Well, duh, he's the GOAT, right? He's number 2 pound for pound. He should be able to fight any of them. He just
got into a fight. He has to relax, you know?
Yeah, give him 6 months and then fight Tom Aspinall.
We'll see how it plays out.
If you are number 2 pound for pound and you're considered the GOAT, you shouldn't have any queries about fighting anyone. You shouldn't be able to just say, oh, you know what? I'm going to take that easy fight because you're too difficult for me. No, you're number 2 pound for pound and the GOAT. You shouldn't be saying no to anyone. They should all look easy to you. And Dana White already said he's not doing the Alex Pereira fight. He said he's not going to do it. Because, let's be honest, Jon Jones would maul Alex Pereira and get him out of there in the first round. Dana White even said that. Why would you put it together if you know who's going to win?
Nah, it wouldn't be like that.
Okay, would it be fun to put... okay, let's say
because if Alex Pereira beats Jon Jones, right? He beats Jon Jones. Next thing you know, it's like, whoa, this guy Alex Pereira.
He's not going to beat him. That's like saying that
he can beat him. He would knock Jon Jones out. Alex Pereira would knock Jon Jones out.
Wouldn't. Jon Jones would hit a takedown on Alex Pereira and smoke him in a minute.
No, he would not.
He just did that to Stipe in the first round. You think that Alex Pereira would survive?
Stipe with mid-striking. Listen, you got to look at it like this. The fight always stands up on the feet. Jon Jones, he goes up. He's fighting Alex Pereira.
Dude.
He feels Alex Pereira's power. They're basically almost the same size, too.
No, they're not.
Alex Pereira walks around at about 230. John weighed in the fight, 238.
Stop. Please, just stop. Izzy took down Alex Pereira. That's all I have to say. We're changing the topic right now. Izzy took down Alex Pereira.
Stipe's old.
Izzy took down Alex Pereira. Jon Jones would maul Alex Pereira and get him out of there in one round. It wouldn't be fun to watch Sugar Sean O'Malley versus Conor McGregor. Because Conor McGregor would just win. Are we in agreement on that? Sugar Sean O'Malley and Conor McGregor, not a fun fight. We already know who's going to win.
Right now?
Right now, O'Malley versus Conor. Conor knocks him out in a round. Come on. Dude, they're 50 pounds apart. Conor McGregor knocks O'Malley out in the first round. It's the same comparison. Jon Jones and Alex Pereira is not a fun fight because you're literally just feeding one of the most popular guys to Jon Jones just to get beat in the first round. It's not fun.
Yeah, but that boosts him up.
No, it doesn't.
But if Pereira beats him, that boosts
it
Pereira
doesn't boost
up even
anyone.
More. Because if Jon loses, he lost to a good champion.
No, it doesn't boost anyone. Because if Jon Jones wins, which he will, then, okay, he just beat a 205-pounder with no grappling. Duh, he was always going to win. And Alex Pereira is just not going to win. Yes, but I am saying that he is much bigger now and a good grappler. Alex Pereira gets smoked in the first round. I don't know why there's even an argument to have right now. Dana White said that it was going to happen.
Blachowicz is bigger and didn't submit him.
They're literally the same size. Alex Pereira is not good enough to fight Jon Jones. He doesn't have the grappling. He does not have it. It's not there. It's not there. There's no way that he could pull out even a takedown defense against Jon Jones. If Jon Jones puts his hand on him, Alex Pereira might as well just lay on the ground. That's all there is to it. There's no shot in hell. No way. He'd have to do some kind of Jorge Masvidal flying knee in the first second, and he's never done anything like that. Alex Pereira's shortest fight is longer than Tom Aspinall's average fight time. 2 minutes and 17 seconds. Tom Aspinall's average fight time is 2 minutes and 2 seconds. So there's no way. No way. It's not happening. We get rid of that right now. Alex Pereira loses to Jon Jones. If that fight was lined up tomorrow, you're telling me you'd bet on Alex Pereira? You'd put $20 on Alex Pereira?
I could.
You wouldn't, though. If you had to throw money on one of the two guys, who would you put your money on?
I'd probably put it on Alex Pereira.
Over Jon Jones?
I mean, they're the same age.
Now you're just dick riding.
That's a personal question.
You know that you are wrong right now, and you are just doing it to try and
well, money's on the line.
Because you love Alex Pereira. No, the only problem is that you love Alex Pereira too much. You think way too highly of him.
He's good.
You think too highly of him. I think too low of him. And there's no middle ground here. We're never going to find a middle ground because I think that Alex Pereira sucks, and you think he's way better than he is. Way better. You think that he's like a god-tier fighter. He's not. He's not.
Almost.
He is a god-tier striker.
3 finishes in 1 year.
He's a god-tier striker. That's it.
The best in the UFC.
Yeah, he's best striker in the UFC. That's fine.
Better than Jon Jones.
Better striker than Jon Jones. Correct.
Exactly.
You're forgetting half of MMA. You're forgetting a complete aspect of MMA. It's not a kickboxing match.
He has a black belt.
You know it's not a kickboxing fight.
He has a black belt.
We've been over this. The black belt means nothing. It's just to defend against submissions. It's not to go out there and submit someone.
Defend against submissions.
That doesn't mean it works. That doesn't mean you're going to... So what? There are people all the time that get submitted that are black belts. It happens every single card. Every card, there's at least 2 people that are black belts that get submitted. I can name you probably 4 just on this card that have black belts that got submitted. So it's not that fun. It's not that cool to have a black belt in MMA. Damon Jackson is a 3rd degree black belt, and he got submitted by Jim Miller in literally 2 minutes.
Jim Miller's a black belt.
Yes, and so is John Jones. So he goes out there and he submits Alex Pereira. Easy. First round. It's not even a fight. He doesn't even have to submit him. Take him down to elbow, 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 elbow. Done.
Wouldn't happen.
4 elbows. That's all he needs.
Wouldn't happen.
You're ridiculous if you really think that. That's kind of the craziest statement that you've ever said on this podcast. And it's frustrating me. But there is more to talk about. We have a Mike Tyson-Jake Paul fight to talk about before I lose my shit. We're going to move topics. We're going to talk about Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul for a minute. There's not really much to talk about. My biggest burning question of the night, do you think it was rigged?
Yeah.
Were you watching it on Netflix?
Yeah.
Did you have the stream problem where it would just keep on refreshing and buffering?
No, I watched it on my phone, and it was
I only had it one time happen. But other than that, the stream loaded perfectly fine for me. I mean, it was a little blurry. But other than that, no streaming problems, though.
Yeah, it was all good. I mean, in the fight, you could see that Mike Tyson was fighting back his instincts, biting on the glove, trying not to really take Jake's head off and really take this punishment, because his natural instinct is to, I'm going to knock this guy out. And it's he wanted to, but it's at the end of the day, he couldn't. He had to stick to the contract. Jake Paul, on the other hand, obviously he's going to look good, but I guess he looked better than before. A couple actual real boxers have called out Jake Paul, and I hope he responds to that, because it's okay, you've gotten these notable wins. This is your real record. You've been boxing since 2020. You've been boxing for 4 years now. You've got some of the best coaches, some of the best trainers. Let's get in with real boxers, semi-pro, some professional guys, other people that are not paid to win.
Yeah, but is he still going to try and pay them to lose? My thing is, if it was real, then Mike Tyson, if it was a real fight, no scripted, no paying Mike Tyson off, then Mike Tyson is old and slow, and we should just wash that fight. It doesn't matter. He was a 60-year-old that Jake Paul beat up. He's not Mike Tyson anymore. If that was a real fight. If it was a fake fight, then why are we even talking about Jake Paul? This is WWE shit if it's fake. So why should we even care? I mean, if you're going to do fake stuff, at least accept it. WWE. That's what makes me like WWE. They accept it. If you're not going to accept that your whole thing is scripted and fake, and I'm not saying it is scripted or fake. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that it's a little fishy. It's a little bit fishy from what I've seen, a little bit. I think that Jake Paul didn't look great. I think Mike Tyson didn't look great. I thought the fight kind of was boring. It's whatever. Our live reactions are on the channel if you want to go back and watch our live reactions for that. Not really much to talk about, though, honestly. I mean, Mike Tyson called out Logan Paul. It's probably the biggest takeaway. We might see Logan Paul versus Mike Tyson next. And maybe that one won't be rigged, and Mike Tyson can actually go out there and actually try and beat Logan.
Yeah, I think Jake takes it a little more serious, but Jake, there's got to be someone who he's just got to fight other people. Like the one guy who he actually was going to fight, like that one dude who had pulled out of the fight for whatever personal reason, that was going to be a good fight. That was going to be a non-rigged fight. Like he has to, I don't know. He can't keep doing this. It's honestly getting annoying to watch.
Yeah, I know what you mean. But other than that, I don't really want to talk too much more about Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul. I feel bad that I even watched it, honestly. I mean, just watching a legend get beat up like that and not be able to fight back.
Yeah.
It was kind of sad. But moving forward for the UFC, there are a lot of things that are coming down the pipeline. Just announced Colby Covington versus Joaquin Buckley. Tampa at the end of the year. Last card of the year, Colby versus Joaquin Buckley. It's going to be a fun fight. Ian Gary versus Rachmanov. Number 1 contendership fight. Not for an interim title. Just number 1 contendership. That's going to be a fun fight. They also lined up, coming down the line, Izzy versus Amavov in, I think, Riyadh. February 1st. That's going to be fun. We've got a lot of stuff coming that's going to be really fun, but this coming weekend, we have Petr Yan versus Davison Figueiredo. We're going to do predictions for that. I think we're going to do 3 predictions for that. Let's see. Okay, so we've got Petr Yan, Davison Figueiredo. We've got Yao Zhanan. She just fought for the title at UFC 300 against Wei Li, versus Tabitha Ricci. And then I think we should do Volkan Oezdemir versus Carlos Oldberg.
Okay.
So, Volkan Oezdemir is 20-7. He just knocked out Johnny Walker in his last fight. Carlos Oldberg is 11-1. He was the guy that was supposed to fight Jamal Hill recently. All right, so Volkan Oezdemir or Carlos Oldberg. You ready? 3, 2, 1. Carlos Oldberg. All right. We're even on that. Yao Zhanan versus Tabitha Ricci. Yao Zhanan is 18-4. Tabitha Ricci is 11-2.
Okay.
3, 2, 1.
Tabitha
Yan
Ricci.
Zhanan. All right, so you've got Tabitha. I've got Yan. Now, lastly, for the night, well, for the morning, it's gonna be happening at 6 a.m. in the morning on Saturday. By the way.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, so it's gonna be Petr Yan versus Davison Figueiredo. Do you want to hear the records, or does it not matter too much?
Nah, let me just think about it.
All right, because Petr Yan is coming off of a win in his last fight. I think it was to Song Yadong.
Okay.
Davison Figueiredo also coming off of a win over Chito Vera. Before that, Figueiredo also beat Cody Garbrandt. He's really making his way up in this bantamweight division. This might be a title eliminator for the bantamweight division. Winner of this might fight for the title next. So, I mean, after Umar, hopefully. You got your answer?
Yeah.
All right. 3, 2, 1.
Figueiredo.
Petr Yan. All
Figueiredo.
right. You've got Figueiredo. I got Petr Yan. You have Tabitha Ricci. I have Yan Zhanan. And then we both ended up with Carlos Oldberg. Did you want to throw one more on, or we're split 1-1? So there could be a
Throw
draw.
2 more on.
Nah, one more.
Throw 2 more.
If we do 2 more, then we might end up tying. Let's do one more.
3
Okay.
more.
Song Kanan versus Muslim Salikov. Song Kanan is 22-8. Muslim Salikov is 20-5.
Okay.
All right, 3, 2, 1.
Muslim
Salikov.
Salikov.
All right, guess we're not doing it then. I guess. I don't know any of these other fighters, so it's not even gonna be fun. Yeah, no, those are really difficult names to say. I'm not even gonna try most of them. Yeah, sorry, we're just doing those 2. So we're split 1-1. Yeah, no, we're done. I'm calling it. That's it. We're doing the 1-1, and next week, catch us back here. We will be reviewing Petr Yan versus Davison Figueiredo and doing predictions for the next card after that. What is the next card after that? Let us see.
310, right?
Is that the next card? Yeah, that is the next one right after that.
Wait, who's
December
the main event?
7th, Pantoja versus Kai Asakura.
That's the main event? Oh, wow.
Yep.
Pantoja's now the main event.
Yeah, I mean, it's not helping ticket sales, but... And they put Bryce Mitchell versus Kron Gracie on the main card, but have Aljamain Sterling versus Evloev on the prelims. Like, what? They have Nate Landwehr on the main card, and Aljamain Sterling and Evloev on the prelims. It's crazy. Let me just tell you. So Bryce Mitchell versus Kron Gracie is on the main card, and Nate Landwehr versus Chow Do Ho is on the main card. Guess who's on the prelims of this card? Evloev versus Sterling, Anthony Smith versus Dominic Reyes, Randy Brown versus Brian Battle, Cody Durden versus Joshua Van, Clay Guida versus Chase Hooper, Michael Chiesa versus Max Griffin. All of those fights that I just listed could have all been on the main card. And instead they picked Bryce Mitchell versus Kron Gracie. Like, what? What are we doing here? What is this? What is going on? I don't know. But that is for the next week after that. Actually, it'll be 2 weeks. It's on December 7th. So next week we won't be doing a prediction. We'll be reviewing Petr Yan versus Figueiredo, and we might do some kind of fun segment or something. We're coming up to the end of the year where we'll be doing our awards in about a month. Yes. So that's going to be fun. Can't wait to do that.
We got to redo the pound-for-pound list.
Yeah, we could probably do that next week. We could redo our pound-for-pound list because it has changed a lot. The fact that Bilal Muhammad is on the UFC's number 5 spot for pound-for-pound is fucking ridiculous to me.
Yo, I forgot who he's over, but it's some crazy names.
Yeah, Merab, DDP.
No, DDP's the limit. DDP would beat Bilal Muhammad. We can agree on that, right?
I would. I mean, if we're just talking pound for pound, Merab and DDP has beaten 3 champions. Merab has beaten 4 champions.
DDP defended the belt.
Yeah, and Bilal has beaten 1 champion and hasn't defended his belt and is above DDP and above Merab. Makes no sense. Merab hasn't defended his belt, but he has beaten 4 champions. And DDP has defended his belt once, and has beaten 3 champions. So, no comparison. Bilal should not be above Merab or DDP. Probably not even above Tom Aspinall, because Tom Aspinall even's got a title defense.
Yeah.
So, I don't know why Bilal's that high. Other than that, I mean, I kind of like the placements of how they have it, but we'll redo our pound for pound next week. I think that's going to be all for the show. If you guys didn't watch our live reactions, Elijah couldn't make it to either of them, but our Jake Paul, Mike Tyson live reaction and our Jones versus Stipe live reaction are both on the channel right now. Please go and watch those. Do you have anything else you want to say before I sign us off?
Jon Jones, pound for pound, number 1, undisputed champion GOAT. Alex Pereira probably could beat him. He has good wrestling. He has good jiu-jitsu. He is also a black belt.
You're so hypocritical. You're literally contradicting yourself in your sentences. That's how... Whatever. Jon Jones, GOAT. 100% GOAT. Greatest of all time. I won't hear any arguments otherwise. Not number 1 pound for pound. Number 2 pound for pound. Right now, number 2. And the disputed heavyweight champion of the world. Because he's not undisputed. Because there's an interim champion right there. So how is he undisputed if there's an interim champ? Makes no sense. That's not what undisputed means. So, with that being said, thank you, Elijah, for coming on the Hardcore and the Casual podcast.
Thank you for having me.
It has been a fun episode arguing with you. My blood's boiling. I'm hot. I'm sweaty. I need a towel. I've been your host, Justin. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and go back and watch our live reactions. And join us here next week for our reactions to Petr Yan versus Figueiredo. And peace out.